It doesn't matter where you are. As a woman, don't you ever think for 1 second to let your guard down. Doesn't matter if you have security around you, if you're at work, if you think you're covered. Because I just had a patient's family member tell me that this bathroom is out of paper towels. And he's like, yeah, it's like not coming out, go check. So I come into the bathroom to check. There's paper towels in it. As soon as I walked in, I felt uneasy. I walk in, he walks in behind me. And I'm thinking, oh dang, did I just trap myself in the bathroom with this weird guy I don't even know? I turn around. He's right here, blocking the door. And he goes, oh, well, I don't know how that happened. Well, you're really pretty, by the way. What's your name? And he's trying to read my badge. Sir, step aside. Step aside. Move out of my way. My heart is racing. Like, don't you ever let your guard down for 1 second.
You know how everyone's talking about their friends that they had that secretly hated them? That reminds me of a tale. Story time. So this begins in 4th grade. There was a new girl in my class. Every time there was a new kid, I would love making friends with them. I was so shy in elementary school. Anyone who didn't have a preconceived connotation of me, I just wanted to befriend them. So I'm driving home from school with my mom, and literally like 3 houses down from me, I see her playing in her front yard. So the next day at school, I said to her, do you live in, and I said my neighborhood, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, I live right there. And she was like, cool. I don't know how we became friends after that, but we did. We were attached at the hip. We hung out every single day for years. Now we're in 7th grade. I'm noticing that she's starting to get a little boy crazy. If you've ever had a girlfriend that's boy crazy, you know where this story is heading. Girls that prioritize men and male validation, they're gonna choose guys over you. 10 out of 10 times. Every time I would hang out with her, she would be texting boys. We'd be jumping on the trampoline, and she would stop every 2 minutes to pull out her little Envy phone and text some boys. As a 7th grader, she started doing acts with this one boy in particular, and I had no interest in that. I was literally 12. I was nowhere near that. So we were already starting to go on some different paths here. So one day we had another friend that was mutual, both of us, and we were all hanging out at my house. I need to give the girl a name. The boy crazy girl, her name is Anna in this story. Anna is like, let's go to the high school football game. And the other friend we were with, let's call her Cheryl. Me and Cheryl and Anna get there, and immediately Anna ditches us to talk to some boys. Me and Cheryl are just kind of there like, what do we do now? Also, this is one of like the first times that Cheryl has hung out with us. After like a few hours of Anna completely ditching us, she's just talking to these boys the whole time. And I do want to note too, these weren't even cool boys. They were kind of like weird. They were just gross. Like, I'm sorry. If you're gonna be obsessed with some boys, at least make them cute. Cheryl says to me, look, I'm nervous. I didn't tell my mom that I was gonna be here. It's getting dark. Like, can we please go back? I was like, yeah, like that's not a problem. So I call my mom to pick me up. I'm telling
Anna,
like, look, Cheryl has to go home. Like, I want to leave. I'm not really having fun either. We're gonna go. You can come with us if you want. Things are about to get really juicy, but go to part 2.
Story time of when my best friend of 8 years flew to visit me and left after one day and blocked me. This story is wild, but we're gonna have to back up a little bit. So me and this girl were virtual friends for the past 8 years. We FaceTimed almost every day, talked about everything, our secrets, our life, literally everything. We had never met in person. I know, crazy. Then she started talking to a guy from my city, and she had been talking to him for a month or so. And then she was like, you know what? I'm gonna come visit you because I've been dying to meet you, and I could meet him at the same time. So it'd be, you know, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I was super excited because we had tried to meet up multiple times before, and it just never panned out. So I was excited to see her and be able to, you know, finally meet in person. I told her that she had to come stay with me, that there was no way she was staying in a hotel. She had to stay with me. And she made it clear, she's like, I'm coming for you, not for him, but like, you know, I'm gonna obviously spend some time with him, but I really mainly want to come for you. And I said, girl, don't worry about it. We can share you, no problem. A few days before she came, I went through something super difficult in my personal life, and I was at a very bad place, and I was talking to her about it because she's my friend. She asked me, she's like, do you want me to stay in a hotel if too much is going on? And I was like, no way. Like, especially in our culture, we're both Arab, it's super disrespectful if somebody comes to your city and stays in a hotel. They have to stay with you. And I saw her as like a close friend. I wanted her to be around, and like, my house is her house. She's like a close friend to me. She also had mentioned prior that she checked the hotel prices and they were so expensive. So obviously I was never gonna let her stay at a hotel. So a day or two later she came, and I couldn't pick her up from the airport because I had a mandatory lab that I had to go to, but the guy she was talking to picked her up. So I told her that I could meet her right after class, but she said she wanted to spend the day with the guy and that she would meet up with me later. So she met up with me later in the evening around like 8:30, 9 p.m. and she'd been here all day, which is fine. I wanted her to spend time with the guy, see if they hit it off. We went for dinner, and by that point I was getting really exhausted because I'd been up since 6 a.m. at school, so I was so tired. So we went home, we kind of got into our PJs, and just like, I was tired, so I just got in bed right away, to be honest. It was like, I could tell like you're really like in a bad place and like you're not as bubbly as usual. And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, like everything I went through was super hard and I'm just struggling with it a bit. And she's like, yeah, like I hate to see you like this, like you're just so down. And I was trying my best to be as bubbly as I could for her. Like I was trying my best, but like, you know, as my friend of 8 years, like she should be understanding of the fact that like, you know, shit happens. Anyway, so the next morning we got up. She's like, what do you want to do today? I'm like, let's go get breakfast, then we can go to the mall, and then we can play the rest of the day by ear, because I know she had dinner with her man later that day. So we go for breakfast, and then we're in the car. We're about to go to the mall, and she tells me, you know what, I think I'm going to actually book a hotel and leave. Go to part 2.
Put a finger down if one time you match with a guy on Hinge with a lot of followers on TikTok and you guys end up hanging out. Well, you go and stay the weekend with him because he lived like an hour and a half away, and the first night went really good. You guys are drinking, hanging out with his friends, whatever. It was a great time. Then Saturday you wake up and you're really hungover and you go golfing, whatever. It was good, fun, whatever. Well, then he goes to dinner with his family, and I was like, great, I'm going to go shopping because we were going out that night and I wanted to make sure I liked my outfit. And I am somebody that, even though I'd already brought like a week's worth of clothes, I needed to make sure I liked my outfit, and I will try on 20 outfits before deciding one. So I went shopping and I come back with Dillard's, TJ Maxx, so many clothes, and I have never liked an outfit like I did this night. Okay, guys, I was like, I love this outfit. Okay, I'm ready to go. He still wasn't back yet, so I was just drinking, whatever. So then he comes back, and keep in mind, I'm loving my outfit. I was in black jeans, a leather shirt. It was like cropped. It crossed in the back, but the back was open. It had puffy sleeves. It was so cute in black and white Nike Dunks. So he walks in, he goes, what are you wearing? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, are you wearing that? And I was like, well, I guess not. And he was like, you need to change. And I was like, okay, no worries, I went shopping. So I put on another outfit. Okay, he comes in, he's like, I'm not going out in public with you wearing that. Guys, I was in the most basic outfit you could possibly go to a bar in, okay? And I would never put on something ugly like hanging out with somebody like that, okay? Not even hanging out with somebody like that. In general, I'm not going to wear something just completely ratchet or ugly to a bar. I have fashion sense, okay? So then I was like, okay, no worries. I'll change a third time. I went shopping, okay? So I put on a third outfit. He comes in, he's like, he gets his friend to approve, okay? Brings in his little roommate. Look, tell her she can't wear this. I was like, honestly, look at your outfit. You're in boots, jeans, and an oversized button t-shirt. How do you have the nerve, okay? How do you have the nerve? So he didn't like that I said that, and we shit on each other the entire night. It was horrible. If you would have... Sorry, my client called. If you would have saw me and him in a bar, you would have been like, why do they hate each other? Like, he was literally all over girls. I was talking to so many other different people. Like, and we were just like, screw you to each other, pretty much. We weren't talking, okay? So then, I was like, what am I going to do? Because, and it was so bad. Like, he was being such a... And so I was being such a... Yeah. So, and it was just like, okay, well, then I was like, what am I going to do? My keys, my car, my clothes, my iPad, my computer, everything was at his house. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So by God, my ex-boyfriend was there, okay? So I called my ex-boyfriend. He happened to be there that night. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? I need you to pull through for me, and I need you to come pick me up and take me somewhere and get my stuff. And I ended up staying with him. Thank God that he was there, because I wouldn't have known what to do with my life. Because he would have put me outside to sleep. Okay, that's where we were at. Well, that was awkward having to get my stuff, because he went home. He was in a bad mood, I think. I put him in a bad mood on accident, but whatever. So, then a few months later, I was talking to a football player, and And I see him at the bar, and we both literally laughed so hard at each other. It was not even funny, but whatever. Then, okay, that's all. But don't even try to guess who it is in the comments because I'm not telling you. Okay.
I just remembered the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. Okay, looking back, it is still like so mortifying. What is this hair doing? Get away from me. But I've just learned to live with the fact that I did this. So anyways, I used to take tennis lessons at our country club, you know, back when I was a little tennis baller and everything. And I was at a tennis lesson, okay? And at our club, we have like the tennis pros that give lessons. Like, it's not some rinky-dink tennis person. It's an actual professional. So I'm already like halfway scared out of my mind because I'm definitely not a professional tennis player, and I'm like, I can't make myself look stupid, but we know I did that anyway. Anyways, the tennis pro that was teaching my lesson, like, alone, it was just me and him. There's no one to like bounce strokes off of, like, let me just say that. Anyways, he will tell you like it is. Let me tell you, like, if you're sucking, he's gonna let you know. Okay, so he's like feeding me balls over the net and I'm hitting them back to him, and he goes, Mia, come here. I think your grip is wrong. So at this point, I'm already halfway embarrassed because I'm like, okay, like, I'm literally here with this really good tennis player taking a lesson and you're telling me my grip is wrong? Okay, so I walk over there and he's like, give me your racket. And this is where it goes downhill. So I hand my racket to him and I put my hands on my knees and stick my butt out. He says, what are you doing? And I said, I thought you were going to give me a spanking. I don't know why my brain computed that a random tennis pro would spank me with my own racket. Okay, so after I was like, oh, I thought you were gonna spank me, or I was more like, oh, I thought you were gonna spank me, he was like, no, I'm just showing you the right grip. And if I'm being completely honest, I really don't know where that came from because I don't get spankings at home. Like, the last time I got a spanking, I was probably like 3. Like, I can't even remember. Maybe not 3, more like 5. But like, I have not gotten a spanking in like a freaking decade. But now he probably thinks that like I go home and the minute I do something wrong, I just get like beat with a tennis racket. Like, what? I mean, that is like embarrassing and everything. But what makes it worse is the fact that I still go there all the time. And like, I have to see him all the time at the pool, at the club, everywhere. I mean, that was totally embarrassing and I'll probably never, ever, ever get over that. But life goes on, and I've seen him since then, and it's been okay. I just haven't brought up the fact that I thought he was gonna whip me, but whatever. Okay, story time is over. Bye.
If you're laying in bed and you actually want to sleep tonight, then you should skip this. For the rest of us who like scaring the shit out of ourselves, welcome. When I was a kid, my best friend asked a Ouija board how old she was gonna be when she died. Okay, spoiler, it told her 22. Probably wondering, did she die at 22? I'm gonna tell you a story that only 3 people know. Well, 2, because one of them is dead. This story starts about 20 years ago when Christina and I were about 12. We were inseparable and we used to hang out with her older sister all the time. We were at their house a lot. It looked like a normal suburban house on the outside, but I swear you walked in and it was like a portal to the underworld. This house scared the absolute shit out of me. I would hear screams coming from the attic and I would look down this long, dark, creepy hallway, see dark figures like motioning up when I'm trying to sleep at night. To make matters worse, we would sit in her room with the lights dim, pull out the Ouija board, and play all the time. But here's the thing, it only ever worked for Christina. It was like she had some weird connection to it. Naturally, her sister and I always thought this was fake, and she was just doing it for attention because it would move so fast all over the place, telling us everything. Never worked when we did it alone, so we were a little bit suspicious. Whatever ghost was on the other side of this had diarrhea of the mouth. This was not like you see on the horror movies where it's like, oh, this is slowly moving to yes or no. Like, no, this was like a T9 texting expert ghost that word vomited constantly. So one day we had just finished watching Big Fish, and in that movie there is this creepy old witch, and you can ask her how old you're going to be when you die. Christina loved this idea. Next thing you know, she's pulling out the Ouija board and immediately asking, how old am I going to be when I die? Planchette slowly starts to move towards the numbers, and it hovers over the 2. And then it takes a little bit of a movement back and comes right back to the 2. Christina didn't even skip a beat. She grabs her red notebook that she wrote down all of the answers the Ouija board said in it, wrote down, age I'm going to die, 22. Completely calm. Little did we know, something was set in motion and some weird shit started happening for the next 10 years. About a year after the Ouija board incident, Christina's middle school boyfriend tragically died. He was babysitting his 3-year-old little sister, hanging a rope swing for her in the backyard. The parents got home, found the little girl screaming in the backyard, looking at her brother hanging by the tree. He accidentally got tangled in the rope and hung himself. He had been dead for about 3 hours. While Christina was upset about this, she wasn't hysterical, more so distant. And she said to me, I think I'm gonna see him again soon. I just don't see myself growing old. I can't be that upset about it because something like that might happen to me. For the sake of being able to sleep at night, I wrote off a lot of these things. Christina and I grew apart over the years. A couple of other creepy things happened here and there, but for the most part, I think she had a pretty normal life. She got a job, got a fiance, seemed pretty happy from what I could tell. So now we're about 21 and Christina's wedding is coming up. I didn't go to the wedding, but I saw this footage later. Christina's standing at the altar, all smiles, having just been married, trying to take photos with her family. Softly in the background, you hear a little girl singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider. Christina yells super loudly, Kenna, it's time to take photos. And the camera just slowly pans left. And then you get a great view of this beautiful little flower girl sitting in a pew, holding a Bible upside down, singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider. She shuts the Bible, takes a couple of steps towards the aisle, and slowly walks forward. I shit you not, this 3-year-old looks up at this bride and says, Christina, are you gonna die soon? Freaked out when she heard this, which would be a normal response, but I heard her talk about death so many times as a teenager and just how it didn't faze her that it was a little bit odd to hear her talking about it like this. I really think it's because she was 5 months pregnant. Things had changed for her. About a year after the wedding, Christina was at a cabin with her family in the mountains, having some celebration. Everyone was there, including her newborn son. It seemed like one of those days where nothing could go wrong. Her family always had a 4-wheeler that we would take around the mountains and have a really good time on. At some point in the afternoon, her and a friend decided to take it out for a ride. But that day, something was different. As they rode through the trails, everything seemed all right until Christina screamed, "The brakes aren't working." They flew off of a cliff. Both of them were rushed to the hospital. Christina didn't make it. She died on the way there. 22.